Hello, my name is Jane McClenny, and I have been a Feldenkrais practitioner since 1996. During the years of my practice, I have worked with several people with spinal cord injuries, ranging from paraplegia to quadriplegia, with varying success. In this video, I hope to inspire other practitioners as well as other modalities to be creative and challenge yourselves and your clients. My first encounter with quadriplegia was through a therapeutic horseback riding program where it took 4 of us to load our student from the wheelchair to the horse, and then 3 of us to attempt to keep him erect so that he could attempt to balance from just his head and his neck. About a year and a half later, he had progressed to the point where he could pull himself from his wheelchair onto his own horse. 18 years ago, my friend and neighbor Bob dove into a lake. He was going to dive under his 5-year-old daughter and toss her in the air. Instead, he slammed into a sandbar and broke C4. He became a quadriplegic. His surgeons told him that he would never regain any movement at all, but he had full sensation in his body with the exception of his hands. He simply couldn't move anything. We began working. We worked for 3 years. Bob now has trunk control. He can put his arms around his wife and his children, and he can feed himself and use a computer with the use of special tools and a wristband.
In that period of time, we worked on balance, trunk balance, sitting balance, standing, feeding, breathing, relaxation, and other things. And it's been, a little over 18 years now. And at this point, I can feed myself independently with a special feeding device and cuff. I can operate my chair by myself. I go out frequently with no assistance of any kind to go out and about in the community. I could move my arms and my trunk, and I have balance on my trunk and so on and so forth.
8 years ago, I suffered a spinal injury. I was thrown from my horse and I shattered L3. My surgeon told me that I would lose at least 10% of my mobility, and in fact that has been significantly less. And I attribute my remarkable comeback to the Feldenkrais method. The student that you will see in this video, Dylan, rolled his truck and he broke his pelvis in several places. He did not, however, sever his spinal cord. However, he is labeled a T10 injury, meaning that he has no sensation below the 10th thoracic vertebra. We have worked for 5 years and we have made some major gains. With Dylan on his belly, I am touching every vertebra and having him lift his head and turn his head to each side. We're trying to begin to get extensors in his back to work with his abdominals in the front, and to see if he can gain some sensation farther down his back. From here.
Lower.
Yeah, one more low, good. That's nice. I'm going one lower. That's nice. Good lift. Excellent. Okay, less power. Less power.
I'm trying to get my chest off the...
Yeah, go slower. That's it. Less power. Okay. Can you feel me right there? All right.
I can't exactly feel it on my skin, but I can kind of like feel where you are. Yeah.
Okay, good.
It feels like an anchor almost.
Yeah, good. After he developed better upper trunk control, we decided to start playing over a ball to further build abdominals, balance and stability, and of course the ever important breathing, how to breathe and move and maintain his stability. Placing Dylan on his back on a roller, we discovered how much this really helped his stability, his ability to sit, and then later to stand. So he's on an unstable object, and I'm stabilizing his legs, but having him move his arms in various positions and attempt to balance and to breathe. We've had him move one shoulder, both shoulders, one arm, then the other arm, then them opposite or out to the side, taking his head off the roller, me moving his pelvis a little off the roller, all of which he had to balance and breathe. Then we begin with assisting him in sitting upright. The use of a vertical roller, which he can hang his hands on and begin to develop some control over, pushing it forwards and back. Sitting with other aids, maybe a roller horizontally in his lap, anything that can begin to help him sit up by himself. And also having him push with his arms into his thighs or into the table itself to help him sit erect, and then slowly beginning to reduce the pressure on his hands.
Here we're having Dylan walk himself down the table. We are developing better coordination, trunk control, timing for walking, whether he ever is able to walk or not. This has helped him build trunk control for staying erect in his wheelchair and in a chair. So here Dylan is having to use a lot of trunk muscles, balance his head over his spine, and try to push himself forward.
So again, we're
from
doing
his
this
trunk.
for balance and kind of reproducing walking. Good. Nice, Dylan. Nice. That's better. Okay. We also had him holding his feet and balancing on his sit bones. This was a really difficult and challenging position for him, but it began to incredibly help his balance, his abdominals and his extensors in sitting.
Good. Excellent balance. Good.
That's actually really hard.
I know it's very hard.
Now we're taking Dylan
pretty
into
nice standing
standing
Good.
and balancing
There you
using parallel bars, a walker, and
Very
strap.
nice. Good.
Dylan here is
Now,
learning
one
how
arm
to
over
sense
here, please.
things, where his feet are,
Find your balance on your right leg.
where his weight is, and all of the sensation is new for him.
Very
He has
nice.
to
And
relearn
breathing.
how to
Great.
sense, and it won't be the
Now,
same as it was
try
when he was
left.
fully
This one's
functional.
harder.
Yeah, I'm having
And as you can
trouble
see,
keeping
he's
my weight.
beginning
Okay, on your
to
left
really
leg,
balance
yeah.
himself
Okay.
well over his
Is that
feet.
better?
He
Yeah.
can even begin to determine when a
Bars
foot is
supporting all,
off,
right?
when it's not in balance, whether the toes need to move out or more on the heel.
Very nice. One
So
hand
his
on
sense
your
of himself has improved greatly.
Nice. Okay. How much pressure are you using on your hand? Not a lot?
More than I was on the other side, though.
Okay. And switch it in. Very
Side's
nice.
still
Very nice.
stable.
Yeah. And this requires a lot of dynamic balancing with this ball. Lots of dynamic balancing. job. Nice. Okay, wait, Richard. Okay, how's your balance?
Something's.
Okay.
My right heel needs to come in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Better?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's better.
Good. Okay, Richard. Not so good? Okay, fine. Yeah.
Give me a little slack right here.
Okay. Better?
There we go.
All right. Take an arm overhead. Again. I don't really know what we have. Oh, good. That's nice. Great. Switch. Nice. Good. Bring your arm down. Please turn and look over one shoulder and then the other. So you turn. Good. Turn. Yeah. That's nice. Great. There we go. All right, now push your chair back a little. Good. There we go.
Do you want the ball back a little further?
Yes. There. How's that? That's nice. And I'm just stabilizing. I'm not pushing him or I'm letting him do the work, but just helping keep him on the ball. Good. That's nice. All right, now come to the center and try left
Side to side.
and right. Uh-huh. That's good. And there. And there and
I'm trying to.
Okay, good. Good. Very nice. Very nice. Now a circle.
Face first.
Direction. Good. Not so far, not so far, because you're beginning to, yeah, you don't want to
I
lose,
think the
right?
ball was hitting it. And when I go back, that's when it gets dragged back.
Okay. I'm gonna try and keep it more forward for you. Okay. So don't do as large a circle, is what I'm saying. Go smaller, smaller and better precision. That's what we're looking for. Good, good. That's it. That's it.
Following my accident, about a month and a half after I got home was when I started seeing
Yes.
you.
Mhm.
So actually about 5 years from now, honestly, maybe 5 years and 2 weeks from now is when I started seeing Jane. And from the very first appointment, I started gaining muscles and trunk control back in my lower back. And then towards, within the last few years, I've been gaining more back on the front side of my core, like in my stomach and that. Returned home and continued pretty rigorous schedule with Jane. We were really trying to take full advantage of those stem cells floating around in my body and trying to put them where they needed to be. And then also, has it been 2 or 3 years since I started riding?
It was about 9 months later.
Was it really?
We started
Okay,
riding.
so it's been like 4.5 years then, and I started riding horses again, and
Therapeutic riding.
yeah,
Right.
and
the
that's I
Spirit
guess
Center?
just as good for your brain as it is for your body. I mean, yeah, it was great to be back in the saddle and riding again, but one of the biggest things was the gait of a horse is very similar to that of a human. So when you're sitting on the back of a horse, the walking motion of the horse, the motion that it sends up through your sit bones and up through your core and your shoulders and clear up into your brain, is very similar to what the gait of a human feels like, and that benefited, big time. So between that, doing a lot of work in a pool, swimming, riding, stem cells, and then mostly working here with Jane, I've really been able to strengthen my core in the last 5 years. Obviously, I'm not back to where I want to be, but it doesn't happen fast. So
Spinal cord injuries vary and all results vary. There is no formula really on how to proceed. Just you and your client will try and see what happens, see what works. Thank you very much.